Hi, and welcome to Sunday School. You may have noticed that I'm not on my own today. Rocky the cat has joined me. She's feeling very sleepy. I'm just hoping her snores don't get too loud. Well, this Sunday is a very exciting one because some of you are going to be able to come to church and do Sunday School there. It won't quite be normal Sunday School. We can't play games. We have to sit a little bit apart. But it will be so great to see you. Now, some of you will still have to stay at home because that's the most sensible thing for you and your family. So it's great that we have YouTube Sunday School as well. Well, if we had been allowed to play games, for today's lesson, I would have started by giving you a Lego challenge. As we can't, I've given the challenge to Ben. And the challenge was, can you build me the most impressive tower that still stands up on its own? So this is his attempt. If you have any Lego at home and would like to have a go, get one of your parents to post a picture of your tower on the WhatsApp group. But this is Ben's. I'm hoping I don't knock it over. There it is. An impressive tower. I wonder if you can guess what today's story is going to be about from this challenge. I'll just put that back down safely, hope it doesn't fall over. You can find today's story in the first book of the Bible, Genesis, so right at the beginning, and it's chapter 11. When Noah and his family first came out of the ark, one of the first commands God gave them was to have lots of children and to spread out over the world again, to fill it up with people. Well, they did have lots of children, but did they spread out over the whole world? I'm afraid not. They stayed in the same place. And because everyone lived in the same place, there was only one language spoken in the world at that time. People had become proud, and they started to make plans of their own, as if they didn't need God anymore. Verse 4 of chapter 11 tells us a little bit more about the plans that they made. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we'll be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Well, the people thought that if they built this impressive tower, they'd be safe and they'd be happy. They'd forgotten that God loved them and cared for them. And when they had trusted God and listened to God and done what he had told them to, he had saved them from the terrible flood. But now they thought they didn't need him anymore. We must never forget what God has done for us and never stop listening to him, because he loves us and he cares for us and he knows what's best for us, and all of us need him. Well, they started to build their impressive tower in order to make a name for themselves. Well, how come these guys were such skillful, impressive builders? Of course, it was God who gave them those gifts. But instead of saying, "Wow, God is amazing to make people with such great and brilliant talents, how would God like us to use those talents?" Instead of saying that, they said, "Let's make ourselves famous." And as they built the tower higher, they said, "Look how it reaches to the heavens. We are so great." They'd become so proud, they thought they didn't need God. But God saw what they were doing, and he knew that they could never be happy and they would never be safe without him. In fact, he knew that if they carried on the way they were going, they would destroy themselves. And God loved them too much to allow that to happen. He was going to have to bring a stop to their plans. You see, God is so amazing. We must never forget that no matter how great people are, God is the one who made them with all their gifts in the first place. So we must always trust God. We must always listen to him. He knows what's best for us, and he loves us so much he even sent Jesus to die for us. And when we trust God, we find that we behave differently and we treat other people differently. Well, how did God put a stop to their plans? He confused their languages. One day when they came to work, they suddenly found that they were talking in completely different languages, and nobody could understand one another. And because they couldn't understand one another, they had to stop building the tower. And the impressive Tower of Babel remained unfinished. And eventually, they had to go their separate ways, each person with a small group of people who spoke their own language, and they scattered all over the earth, just as God had wanted in the first place. And in those smaller groups, sometimes they realized how vulnerable they were and how much they needed God. You see, God sometimes sends us problems and troubles to help us realize that we need him. You know, the people who built the Tower of Babel, they didn't need a tower to reach the heavens. They needed a rescuer. Because God knows that no matter how hard we try, we can never reach heaven by ourselves. And so when Jesus died on the cross, he was taking the punishment for all the wrong things we do, so that we can get to heaven if we love and trust him. We all need Jesus. Let's finish with a prayer. Lord, help us to realize when we're being proud and boastful. Forgive us. Help us remember how great you are, how much you love us, everything you've done for us, and how much we need you. Amen. Okay, well, have a go at your activity sheet. Don't forget, if you do build a tower, get one of your parents to post a picture on the WhatsApp group. And I'll see you next time. Bye.